Yeah.
I can do that. Let me share. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Look at that. Look at that. That is so beautiful.
I'm happy to help. Sorry, I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I'm like have a lozenge in my mouth right now. So for those that I haven't met, my name is Morgan, and I'm the volunteer coordinator with ROMWE, and also a Time Bank member. And Rita had asked me to kind of help us walk through like our planning for 2022. And this is actually a template based on how ROMWE plans. So usually every December or November, we come together with our volunteers and we do some like content planning, and we set up this like volunteer sort of sign up. So we know for every single month, like who's leading, who's presenting, and who's like filling in some of the different volunteer sort of roles. So I created this and I shared the link with Rita, but I said too, like, you guys, if you have your own Gmail, this I just set up through like our Gmail, my Gmail account, but you can copy it into like any spreadsheet or into like your Google Sheets. It's not a big deal, but happy for you guys to like, and us as a time bank to fill it out and, you know, keep up with it through my Gmail. But this is the like monthly volunteer sort of sign up. And I can talk through more of that in a little bit, but the content planning, sort of this template is what we use when we're kind of starting out. And that's where we set a lot of this information ends up being transferred over to like the monthly volunteer sort of sign up sheet. But this is where we really start hashing out like, what are the dates going to be? What are the topics for every month? Sort of our goal, if we have one, who's going to lead, maybe some people who like might want to be on the committee, who we might have as a separate speaker, who might not be like internal to ROMWE or the Time Bank, but maybe someone from the community. We draw some ideas for different activities, like, oh, maybe we want to, you know, reach out to so-and-so for donations, or, you know, go to this place, or like do some sort of act like cooking, or like whatever sort of ideas we have for whatever that month's topic might be. And at ROMWE, we usually do an icebreaker too at the beginning of each one of our meetings. And we like kind of try and plan it so that it's like somehow related to that month's topic. So whatever the month's topic is, we like do a short little kind of get to know each other, again, break the ice, have different people speak up. And then just notes, kind of a little to-do list if needed, and then any materials that might be needed. So if we're doing like an art thing, do we need like art supplies or like whatever it might be? Some of this might not be as relevant since we've kind of transitioned to a Zoom format, but this is just kind of like a remnant of how we've always done it. And so we just continue to use it. And then once we get this filled out, then we put it onto this like very pretty spreadsheet. And this is sort of the spreadsheet that we send a link to all of our volunteers. And we have them then go in and sign up with this link like every month. And they can put in their name and their email for whatever position that they're like interested in, if they want to be like a general volunteer, or whatever. So that's just kind of like how this operates. And I giving you guys a lot of information, but feel free to ask questions. I can kind of like summarize and remind anyone at any point. So
Morgan,
I think,
I'm already feeling guilty about asking you to talk because I can hear the soreness in your throat.
It's okay.
We'll try not to make this a long process for you and ease up on that. But you presented everything that appeals to me about how it worked. And it's not just that it looks pretty on paper, it works. People know far in advance when they're going to be doing something. They begin to collect their thoughts a couple of months ahead of time. There are other documents that they can respond to show that they did it and to thank the guest presenter if there is one. It is smooth as glass as a package for doing a year's programming. And in nonprofits and in people who care about other people, theft is usually not considered to be a bad thing. So I sort of made up my mind to steal this early on if I could do it. I want to point out that we have several people with us that weren't there for the first 2 minutes. We've got Kelly, who is also with USF. She's she's done a degree in cultural anthropology. She did some studies in Russia. Now she teaches cultural anthropology now online for different universities. But her newest thing is she's in the thing that relates to libraries. It has a fancy name to it, but it's the training for things related to information retrieval and library science, and she's working on a master's there as we speak. So I'm trying to get as much crammed in a few minutes as I can, and I just want you to know who some of the players are. Helen has difficulty speaking, but she had some years ago supervised a lot of people at USF. She has that as a disability right now, so we work around it, but she's able to work with forms like this, and she is doing her best to influence me to be better at this. There are enough people trying to improve my skills, I may even be able to do it. And Jasmine has joined us, and of course you guys all know Jasmine, and we got to see her today and congratulate her on graduating. So that's we've done, I guess, the first thing that I wanted to have happen. We've all seen the form. We've been collecting ideas for programs. Some of those have been mailed out to you all. I set down a list of dates for Third Tuesday, which doesn't seem to cause much of a conflict. April is 2 days before Third Tuesday. March turns out to be Women's History Month, which might affect what we do. And we of course, we have Thanksgiving in November, but Third Tuesday is before that. So I think we're ready to start making some choices. But Tracy's going to have to leave. MorgaN, can you hang with us for a little bit longer?
Yeah, I sure can. Yeah, I can help fill this out. I mean, I kind of set aside like an hour or so to help you guys. So
well, bless your
I'm
heart.
happy to help.
Thank you
Rita,
so much.
Rita, I have a suggestion since
Yes.
the two women, I think there are two with you, Tracy, or just you and one other?
Oh, maybe.
Okay. Do you have any ideas you'd like to contribute before you have to go? Because you only can stay for 15 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. Rita got me to join the Time Bank last semester, and this is the first meeting I've made because Tuesdays are busy. But anyway, so just to make sure I get this correct before I throw any ideas, is that the Time Bank is looking to partner with RAMI in some of the volunteering. Is that correct? Is that why, MorgaN, you just went through all the volunteering sheet?
Rita, you can jump in. I think there's definitely anticipated like overlap and sort of like I hate this like business term, but like synergy and like shared sort of like interest. So I think there's definitely possibilities that there will be like volunteers who will be, obviously Time Bank volunteers help RAMI out a lot. And then some of us are also kind of serving like the Time Bank more broadly. But I think it'll still be like a separate, and Rita, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you envision it something else, but like this would still be like a separate sort of planning thing just for like the Time Bank specific sort of third Tuesday of the month, I think, events. So
that was perfectly in agreement with what I think. The goal of Romway is determined by the board, which now combines So Much Hope on the other side of the bay and has some expert legal advice about what you're doing and when you're doing it. And none of us are on the board. MorgaN, you're probably on the board, aren't you?
I'm not technically on the board anymore since we kind of delineated the roles. So I'm just in the volunteer coordinator capacity.
Okay. So what I understand, and Florence is recovering from an automobile accident right now, but what I understand is that a year from now is when they'll begin to feed in time banking more as part of their overall goal structure. But it's going to help a lot if we get our act together more in terms of how we can help refugee women before the year arrives. So this is a wonderful preliminary for that. But even more so, I mean, you can see right away that you guys have skills and talents to offer for our functioning that are desperately needed to take us into the century. And without interfering with your school responsibilities or your personal life, any of that help that we can get is a blessing to us. So it's kind of fun. We're a whole bunch of eccentric people and we mean well. And so I think whatever you end up doing, you're going to enjoy it. And you could kind of, I mean, the big philosophy of time banking is you do what you love and you try to get other people to do things for you that you don't love. I mean, that's not exactly the way they say it, but that's the idea. So go ahead, Tracy, and share any thoughts you have.
I know Christina has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Rita, could I just add that the point of the third Tuesday is to serve the membership, and whoever wants to tune in to the Zoom or the in-person meeting is to learn something, to meet other members, to get more of a sense of how Time Bank works, or learn about different parts of the community. Like some of the safety nets in the community that help people, because in a way, Time Bank is a safety net. If somebody's lost their job, they can't afford childcare or painting their living room, Time Bank might be able to fill in some of the pieces, you know, there's that economic piece as well. So given all that it's for the membership, especially for new members to kind of get a sense of what the heck is this thing beyond the website and the blog and the other things we offer. So given that, what kinds of things would you want to learn in a third Tuesday program, or that you think other people might want to learn?
Christina, thank you and Rita both. That totally makes more sense what we're looking at right now. I don't have any ideas right on the top of my head with that description, but I will think about it and catch up with MorgaN probably in the next couple of days, what you talked about, because I have to go. But I'll catch up with MorgaN about what you talked about in my ideas.
Okay.
But thank you for having me.
What about anybody else? What kinds of things do you want to learn, or do you think the members in Time Bank might want to learn?
Could you just share, I guess, Rita or Christina, like some of the stuff, the programs that you guys have done like historically in the past, and what kind of like topics you covered, just to like generate some ideas?
Yeah, good question. And I think everybody can jump in about that. We had the woman who I think also presented with Runway about financial literacy in 2021, and how banking and budgeting and saving and investments all work together. Because there are a lot of people in Time Bank that, you know, they need to be looking at that, and they don't quite know where to turn beyond just, you know, websites and strangers. So she did a great job. We had people talking about vision boards, what they are, and they had a little workshop about a vision board. We had a group of local experts on permaculture talk about the principles and the philosophy and how it's being applied in some of the different programs around Tampa Bay. What else? Aaron and Rita and Kelly, can you think of, and Helen, can you think of some other things that we offered?
So we have a list of that. I'd be happy to pull that up, but I don't want to interfere with the center screen here. So let me see if I can get that on my cell phone. You all talk a little bit and I'll try to get it on the cell phone.
We have a group up in Spring Hill that works with animals especially the animals of people living on the streets. Because if they have to go to the hospital or a medical facility, they're afraid to go because they don't want to leave their animals untended. And sometimes they help each other, and sometimes time bank people would help by fostering the animal during that time. And they raise money for vet bills and pet food, and it's quite remarkable, the statistics about what they've done. They presented 1 month. Erin, can you think of some others? You attend most of them.
I'm kind of drawing a blank. I'm thinking about activities, but that's different than the third Tuesday things, but
Right.
that may be applicable to this planning board anyway. The activities that we've done, such as the abundance swaps and the plant swaps, and we've also done over the years, a couple of projects where we've done group projects. They're kind of fun. And somebody's
What kind of group projects are you
like
thinking
say,
about?
for instance, we've got a member that's got a house that she's trying to do some major repairs to. So she can get ready to sell it or whatever she's going to do with it. And then I don't know what else.
Well, I'm happy to say I found the list. I can go through that pretty quickly. They're kind of grouped under categories. So permaculture, environmental issues and transitions, which is a specific national program. Permaculture and urban agriculture presentation. There was a panel with video and slides. A St. Petersburg urban agriculture gardener by the name of Jen presented, and she had the award-winning video for something or other in this area. It was extraordinary. We founded Transition Streets, and we had like weekly meetings there for a while with that. So that takes care of environment and gardening and permaculture and so on. Art and talents. There was one Zoom where the membership who Zoomed in with us each shared their art project, some of their creative work, or perhaps their handicrafts, or one person was remodeling their furniture and upholstering it. But there was a wide range of hobbies, crafts, and talent displayed, with everybody getting maybe 10 or 15 minutes to share. And the visual component was good because we got to see the artwork. I think everybody enjoyed that a lot. Health and wellness. There were some things regarding loss and grief. It was pretty well presented. I think there were 3 people who were experienced with grief support and panel discussion on those issues with a lot of resources provided. Well, Christine has already mentioned the vision board. We had a decluttering workshop with that well-known young person who tells you how to declutter your household, and we used some of her ideas as a visual, and then everybody decluttered, and we had an abundance swap a little later on to get rid of all the things we didn't want in the house anymore. And then, of course, the things that didn't go away with the abundance swap got turned over to the refugees, or sometimes it was a good 501(c) sort of nonprofit, maybe that works with women. There's some others that we've used in the past. Okay, so you know a lot about the refugee programs. Lutheran Services, one program we had for 1 month was put on by Ramway, and Gadir and Janet Blair. Each one had a presentation with a PowerPoint slideshow. And of course, that was quite interesting. That's about all we had in the way of programming on third Tuesday. We've had a lot of activities with the different refugee groups in the course of the year. I think that people are interested in knowing about the talents of our members to be able to help with projects. We've never had a program on that, but maybe we should have something like that. Ron is always good at fixing things. He replaced my front door. He's done a lot for members over a course of many, many years. He lives in Oldsmar and has a pickup truck and tools and just has the most wonderful, helpful attitude of anybody you could imagine. He's got a lot of rental houses, and he's even got property up in Hernando County, which he is hoping to build a community on that land. That's an idea that may take another year or two to develop. So we go then to food. So we've helped with distribution of food, including with the refugees. And of course, we loved the cooking class that Ramwe put on, where the different people showed how to cook their cultural meals. And that was a big hit. And, I'd like to see us pick up some of that information and share that with our culture. For February, the program that Ramwe has is called Loving Your Community. And I think we pretty well decided that love is going to be shown by sharing cultural talents and skills in cooking again, and maybe with handicrafts. So I would love to see us be shared with as one of our programs. How we set that up, I don't know, but maybe it's possible. I just lost, here we go. Then empowering women. I'm not so sure we did much with that within our third Tuesday. I don't remember anything on that, but the financial planning thing was good.
So given all that, who has some ideas? Those are a lot of prompts. Any of that spark interest? Because we certainly could repeat things and do them differently the next time.
The health and wellness, I guess, instead of grief and loss, maybe how to create a safety plan. I think that's a quick demonstration that you could probably make for a lot of people. Because it could go either which way as far as mental health safety planning or interpersonal violence safety planning, things that just kind of ground you in the moment. I think that would be a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jasmine.
So we could pick a month for health and wellness. Does 1 month out of the year seem like a good month for health and wellness? Or maybe we don't need to find the month yet. Look, so our form now has all these ideas on it. This is so wonderful.
And I think Helen put in the chat that she likes the idea, the empowering women sort of idea, or event or activity.
Where does and Helen says, where does the mask making come in? That was a bunch of individuals making masks in their homes, and then other people driving the masks to the destination, which was usually medical centers, nonprofit agencies, Ramwe, different groups like that. There were thousands of masks made, thousands. But I don't think people need masks like that. They're getting all kinds of advice about what kind of masks to buy and have. But that was a wonderful project.
So yes, Helen says, can we tie those together? There are probably clusters of ideas that we can pull together under a broader subject. One of Helen's contributions was geriatric medicine, or in a broad sense, we're back with health. And some of the suggestions were diet for longevity, cooking tricks, things that people could do that would be more healthy for eating. Christina is my role model for cooking. I'm never going to get anywhere near it, but I love to hear her talk about it. She added men who cook. So there are some men in our group who enjoy cooking, exercise, coping with COVID and general health concerns, all of that kind of groups under health and wellness. And of course, my pet is coping with technology, which is a never-ending struggle. We could probably do an entire session just on technology issues. On a very much lighter note, we are sharing information about our pets and our grandchildren on a regular basis. It might be fun to using screen sharing to share pictures and to talk about our pets and our grandchildren both, maybe not both in the same session, or maybe yes, both in the same session. Somebody once said that they love the idea of travel and they'd like to share their travel experiences and the travel experiences of other people. And that particular person has traveled widely, as many of you have. I know Tracy spent time in Africa. I think there are other people in our group who have lived outside the United States for a period of time.
Those are lots of great ideas. I like so many. It's going to be hard to pick, I guess, 11 now that we're left with for the year. And maybe some of these you could tie like activities to them. So you could do like a third Tuesday and then tie it in with like a theme maybe for that month, kind of like what Romwe does, where we do like the Saturday event, but we might try and like do something else. That kind of ties in with that.
An idea that I had for the Unitarian Universalists of Clearwater, we have a 93-year-old woman who is very bright, very well educated, had to give up her car, has some physical challenges, so she isn't able to get out much. And she used to be in a book club, which she really missed. But what I suggested was an article club instead of a book club, because a lot of times nobody reads the book. They just want to get together. So if there was an article that the group could choose related to a theme, everybody could read the article. It couldn't be more than 5 or 6 pages, and then talk about it.
So,
I mean, there are a million articles online. It's just so easy to get that stuff today. You don't have to go out and buy a book.
So I want to share kind of my vision of where we're headed for the next year, or 2 years, or 3 years, particularly with the geography that this time bank represents, which, I mean, we just added a member 2 or 3 days ago who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's wanting to start a time bank there. Well, she is wildly experienced in nonprofit activities and in fundraising, and seems to have just a wonderful set of skills. So I said to her, sure, I'll help you start your time bank, but let's start by your joining our time bank and we can trade back and forth. You can offer skills to us and we can do the same for you. So she joined, she's got her profile picture up and she's got her bio up, and she'll be back from a vacation, oddly enough, in Florida. And at that point, we'll go forward with this. But we have a very active member at Augusta, Georgia, and Tony in Ohio, and other people in different parts of the country. So what I have visualized for our future years is having a whole list of learning activities, an entire page of things that are ongoing that we can Zoom about. Some of them will be recorded and some of them will be live, but that we will be able to access all of this. So if we have 20 things here, these may be good ideas. If we can't fit them all in a calendar year as the one item of the month, we may be able, kind of as Christina said, start a little book club on some other time of the day. It doesn't always have to be third Tuesday when we do things. So I just, wanted to point out that we really have kind of unlimited possibilities. Jasmine's got a note. What about an activity on how to create a community asset map? So
Ooh,
isn't that fantastic? That's a
I
superb
love that
idea.
idea. That's a wonderful idea.
So when can we do that? When we can't do it immediately because we have to figure out what a community asset map is.
It's a
But
great process. I think it would really be helpful to a lot of people.
Is there a
Jasmine?
month that
Jasmine,
works
you want to
well?
explain a little bit about what you understand about community asset maps?
Yeah,
I'm
community asset maps can work in any field. It could work in criminology, it could work in social work, it could work in public health. It's basically starting branching off from like a set, need in the community, and then finding all the resources that people may already know of already. And then so you start off with the basis of, okay, this is what they have, and then branching off into what they may want and seeing if you could fill in the gaps from there. And so, when we did the class with Miss Dunn over the summer, we focused on food, and the community asset map was focusing on, okay, what they have accessible to them as far as distance, affordability, accessibility, if they use like governmental, services like, ABD card, and then filling in the gaps from there because maybe they don't have access to things. So where can we actually fill in the gaps? Sure, like, they need more accessible, resources for home goods. And the only place around them is like a Big Lots. Like that's not sufficient enough. And so that's how it kind of works.
So would you be willing to help us with that?
Yeah, of course.
So pick a month that you would like to have that.
A month. Any month?
Yeah, any month.
I mean, probably I don't want to overlap anything else, depending on because like I know the Powering Women could probably go in March since that's like Women's History Month. Just like trying to think of like things that would like make sense in other months. So I don't have to like I said, like overlap. Maybe August. I can't think of anything that would happen in August. August, July.
Okay. And Helen makes a good point, which is that we can pull some of these ideas that are related together and give them a category and then stick it on a month and refine it once we get it there. Do we have categories that we can put in a month?
There's a bit around the health and wellness, depending on like what we want to do. I mean, you might even be able to do like 2 months of health and wellness. I personally really like what Jasmine said about the like safety planning and all of that. And then I'm also personally just really interested in like nutrition and like, I don't know if that can kind of fit with like a cooking thing almost too, or if that could be like a meld. Because like I'm trying to incorporate like more veggies into my food and what are like easy recipes that I can make that don't take a lot of time to like get more veggies in. So I think health and wellness is definitely sort of a broad category though, that there's a lot of ideas that we could do under there.
That all sounds really good to me. And there are so many things that are safety related that we've already kind of talked about here. So what are good months for that? I guess, and keep me from intruding into your wonderful lives. But, is it fair to say, would you be willing to help with that?
Yeah, I can help. I can help with that.
Okay. You don't have to lead it, but help would be. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to like be part of that planning like committee or group for that. So for me, just thinking about like my schedule and calendar, I'm going to be pretty busy, I think, through April because I'm working on my proposal, my dissertation. So after May, my schedule might free up a little bit more. So that could be, I don't know if it makes more sense to do something else in like May, but May, June, July, I could help with that.
It's your choice. Pick your month.
We could have, I mean, even if we're not in person, we could have a recipe exchange. Florida Community of Mindfulness collected vegan recipes from all their members. They have hundreds of members. And I'm not a member, but I submitted tons of recipes. I have 1 billion good vegetable recipes. And I think a lot of people do these days. So I think that's a great idea, Morgan.
Perfect. I just plopped it into June for right now. And I'll just add my name. Oh, and I'll add Jasmine to the leader for this. Jasmine.
So I'm really excited. You know, we've already gotten a big chunk of done what I had hoped to get done today. If you set your goal a little high, you know, you're happy. And we may have set the goal too high to try to fill in an entire year's schedule, but we're well on our way to going where we want to. So let's do a time check and not cause people distress. It's 5:07. Are we good then for another 25 minutes or so?
I can do that.
Okay. Kelly, are you where you could talk a little bit?
Kelly, are you there?
Oh, there she is.
I'm here.
So what you've been doing time banking for longer than I have, which is a long time. And you've been attending a lot of the third Tuesday sessions. So what out of what we have done and what we could do appeals to you, and where would you like to see it happen in the year?
You mentioned the woman that would do a decluttering workshop. Did we do that last year?
We can very much do that again. And we can pull it so that it fits with the abundance swap. I think we're going to try to do cooperative repair cafe, tool exchange, and abundance swap in April with Spring Hill and with St. Pete Time Bank and us all doing them on the same time, the same day, the same who knows what, and then try to get real publicity about it from the press. I think St. Pete can get the press and we'll be able to tag along on their coattails. So let's put that in there for April. And we'll declutter and swap all in the same month. And repair, put in, what is that? Repair cafe too. How that all is going to sort out, I don't know. I told Andy when he mentioned it with great excitement that the first thing we have to do is to find somebody who could fix something. And you can't have a repair cafe if you don't have anybody who could fix anything. And that was what we ran into when we tried to do this before. But we've identified already 4 people who can fix things, which is good. And if we combine it with a tool swap, which Ron's been talking about off and on for about a year, that could get pretty exciting.
Ron, do you want to say anything more about that, about what your vision is for a tool swap or a repair cafe?
Well, as far as a repair cafe, there's so many things that break. Either they're throwaway, it's not worth fixing, or you can get parts. Parts are something that require somebody to order it and then have a return to fix it once you get the part back. That's the way that goes. I don't know that I'd be. I'm not very adept at identifying parts to order and to get to fix things. So I don't know. I have an abundance of tools, and so as far as the tool swap goes, I can supply a bunch of tools. But
Stop.
I don't know.
I think we have a number of people who are good at researching the web. That's a completely different skill than fixing a lamp. So they might be able to work with you if somebody has a specific need.
My point of that was typically if somebody comes in with a broken something and they need a gizmo to fix it, then you got to go buy the gizmo, or you got to go order it specific for that particular item.
Well, maybe we could advertise it that if that's what you wanted, here's what you need to do. Order your part, have it in hand, bring the object, ask us ahead of time, do we have somebody who could help with that? And then show up, and maybe we could make that work.
Yeah, that's possible, I guess.
So we can kind of play with that. We don't have to get fixed into something that is difficult. I share that quality of doubting about how well repair cafes work. There are examples in other time banks where they work very well, and we might need to check in and see what they did to make it work. And yeah, it may be necessary to do pre-planning, which is, okay, if you're going to come to the repair cafe, you'd better let us know what it is you want repaired before you stand in line and come up to somebody and say, here, fix it. I don't think that approach works well.
I'm remembering back to the first abundance swap. I read about it and I thought, oh my God, this is a total time bank idea. I presented it to the leadership team, and it was, shall we say, lukewarm to cool response. There wasn't much enthusiasm because they couldn't connect the dots between, okay, that might be a good idea, and where would we hold it? How would we organize it? Who would help and all that? And I said, well, let's just have a leap of faith, trust the time bank philosophy, trust our members, find volunteers, and make it happen. And after the first one, they were easy. We had many after that because people could see what it was. They experienced it.
Well, I think that Kelly's suggestion is a good one, and we've got a lot to play with for the month of April there. Let me ask a question of those of you who actually plant things in the ground and grow them. If we're going to do something related to plants and gardening, maybe a plant swap, maybe permaculture related, maybe visiting community gardens, maybe food, what do they call it? Food deserts. All of that sort of comes together under some heading. If we were going to deal with all of that, what time of the year is it appropriate? January obviously is not a good month.
Actually, it is.
Oh,
that's when you can put in your you can start visioning your spring garden. The spring garden in Florida goes in January and February. The fall garden goes in September, October. So there's all kinds of charts at the cooperative extension that every county has that gives you guidelines about that. And actually, they have a lot of videos that their staff makes that maybe we could show. We could get permission, or maybe we don't need permission because I think they're in the public domain. And then we could talk about it. I mean, Robert has extensive, unusual, he doesn't just grow spinach. He's got interesting greens. And I know a little something about that.
yes, and we'll probably rekindle transition streets again we were going somewhere with it, and then we kind of got bogged down. But I never intended to abandon it. I felt like we needed to breathe a little through the holidays. But there are a lot of things that are happening. Hillsborough County is making it possible to get free composting bin if you take a course in composting. So I'm set to do that. I thought it was going to be last week, but I had the wrong date down. I think it's in February. But all of this is really fascinating to learn about, and it's good for the planet and good for our neighborhoods, and very time banky in its focus. So you think that if we go for the fall garden, tell me that again, Christina. I don't think that far ahead.
September and October. September, you can start thinking about it, get your ground ready, get the design of what you want to grow. I mean, ideally, and then put it in early October.
So if we're going to do a Zoom on it third Tuesday, probably September is the month.
Uh-huh.
So let's do that. What should we call it?
Get growing.
All right. We'll grow something. Very good. Okay. We're doing very well with our months. How many months have we got left? We've got October, November, and December. Are we going to do holiday parties? Is that part of what we often do? How do you all feel about that? I mean, I don't know if we will ever be able to get together again face to face in the rest of my lifetime, but it's nice to be able to do it every now and then.
I think a holiday party or some kind of gathering is really important for people that don't have family around. You know, the family becomes family of choice. I think it's a great idea.
So what do we want to make it we don't want to do it after Thanksgiving. That's not going to work. And Thanksgiving appears, how does that go for third Tuesday? Thanksgiving is
the 5th. It would be the 15th, I think, is the third Tuesday.
So it would be before Thanksgiving if it's on the 15th. So that we could make the holiday a food holiday around Thanksgiving, or we could make we could do something with all the holidays of the Jewish holidays and Christmas all that fall in December.
What do you guys think about that? Would you attend such a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Helen's comment is really a good one. Mental health will be a big issue when we get through all this pandemic stuff. We're not to the endemic stage yet, although we'd like to be.
Yeah, because I think Jasmine too said that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So not to backtrack from November, but if we wanted to do something, I think she was saying like maybe for the safety planning or whatever we wanted to do for mental health could be potentially in May. And then regarding the holiday thing, I think that's a good idea. I was thinking too of something to kind of tie into like holidays and I don't know, like I don't know if it's like cliche, but like gratitude, like practices and like, I don't know. I'm really interested in that too. And like sort of like meditation and grounding and like presence and all of that sort of stuff. I don't know if that goes together as like one theme and sort of practicing gratitude, but that's something I think of when I think of like Thanksgiving and that, but it's not really like party themed.
But I think you raise a good point. Do they go together? Well, the truth is you have to do a lot of grounding and risk management and emotional management and all the rest of it to get to gratitude. You know, if somebody is depressed and frustrated, they're not feeling grateful. They don't want to hear it. So actually those two do kind of, oh my God, you put my name in there? Oh, good Lord. please.
I just put Helen was the one. I think it was, yeah, Helen said it sounds like you were volunteering, Christina.
No, I should know better. I was just offering ideas, and that's lethal.
I put a question mark, so it's not set in stone.
That's
I
fine.
would
then-
be, I would be happy to be a resource, but I'm pretty
Okay.
maxed out at the moment.
I'll copy you into the like planning. I think this is the line
Yeah.
for committee.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help with that. I've been an
And I think
organic
Helen
gardener
also said something about that the holidays go with food and plant the garden and then eat it. So that's another thought. But yeah, so gratitude, grounding, sort of this thing that can maybe happen in the fall, like another holiday party thing. Maybe we could be in person at that point. I don't know. Like a potluck thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cooking with our vegetables that we've grown.
So I-
Vegetables,
we're on a roll.
vegetables have a bad reputation. Part of my mission in life is to change the reputation of vegetables.
I love vegetables. I just don't know how to cook with them as good as I should. My mom was great and I just relied on her too much. And now that I'm grown, I don't know how to prepare them for myself very well. So
I'd be very glad to be a resource. Tell me which one you want to cook and I'll send you some suggestions.
I will do that. I will email you soon, Christina.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
let you know. Because I'm always trying to think of ways to, because my husband doesn't really, he'll eat whatever I make him, but like he doesn't, they didn't really eat vegetables in like his culture and his family. So I'm trying to like find new exciting ways to.
Well,
prepare vegetables.
I'm married 42 years to a meat and potatoes guy, and I have a million tricks about how to get vegetables into him.
I love that. I'll take that for sure. Yeah, so I guess just to bring us back then, holidays, we have a few different ideas. Do you want me to like plop some stuff in or what do you guys
Sure.
think?
Let's just pop some things in. I think we brainstormed well enough to get to fill in the blanks. It's tentative anyway. I mean, we can change it if we get to a month and say, we've got to have this month, then we'll do it.
I have to say, I'm really excited, Jasmine, about your asset map idea. I love that.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
like that idea of gratitude a lot too. We've done some things about, intention was our last program. And it was well received and it was a centering kind of thing. Instead of everybody being crazy and to make a bunch of New Year's resolutions that they break in the same week. It was more going inside and finding who you are. And then how do you make who you are fit in with how you do your day? I liked it a lot. And people shared their intentions. It was a good session. It's not always necessary to have 40 people in one of these Tuesday things. If it only turns out to be 15 people, that's okay. It's 15 people who want to be there. But I do try to promote them. We'll be able to promote them so much better now that we know further in advance what we're going to do.
And with Zoom, you can include like your sister or, people
Yeah,
like
no
that,
limit.
that kind of wonder, what the heck is this time bank thing you do?
Everybody's welcome.
Yep.
I have an idea. I'd like to go out there. I see you May is open and then we have to worry about hurricane season come June. And then, I don't know if it's an idea to have like a checklist or a check-in thing to make sure that we have that our members' needs are met. They've got a safe place to go. They've got, they understand about things they can do for resiliency on their own part. Maybe we could.
Well, Erin, I think you've got a good point because we've lived in Florida for over 42 years and I don't want to say we're completely in denial, but okay, hurricane season, here we go again, we got to get our water and And you do that year after year after year, and it doesn't have the same kind of energy. And so each year I learn a little tip, a little something I didn't know before that's so helpful. Like which shelters take people with animals. And how do you do that? How do you, or you're on oxygen, how the heck do you find a place where you can go and they don't turn you away because you didn't register? I think some of that information is so helpful. I love that idea, Erin.
I don't know how to coordinate that, but, like, for instance, I live in a flood zone, and I'm not saying we've got a big family, including an elder and a dog, and it's.
Mm-hmm. And the county and the cities and the municipalities are getting more sophisticated every year. They're learning about, well, what do we do with the refugee people that have just settled? Maybe they just moved in last week.
It might be a good idea for us to look, this might be a good idea for us to really look in and care for each other. In our group.
So timely, because we're beginning to investigate the CERT, the what is it, critical response team or whatever. So tomorrow they're having a group meeting at 6:30, and Christina and I are going to zoom in on that call to try to figure out what they're doing. But much to my surprise and delight, Jasmine told us today she's already part of that. And I guess Elizabeth coordinates the USF emergency response group, right? I think I see Morgan nodding. So, so actually that thing is a member of the Time Bank. That entity is an organizational member, which we've done nothing with. And this gives us a chance to plug in a bit.
They also give us some really very good information to pass along to one another to share with our group.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that idea. It gives, once we get our act together, it will be coming to Elizabeth with some thoughts and some ideas instead of just saying, tell us what to do.
And Elizabeth has done that presentation for Romley before too. And it's like really good. She's obviously very well versed and experienced with her emergency preparedness, knows what to do, how to find resources. So she would be a great resource. So I just called that month for now, like safety and preparedness, but that's just a kind of a placeholder if you guys want to change it later.
Well, that's super. Kelly, I want to bring you back in. What is your thinking about where we are and where else we want to go?
Sorry, it takes me a second to unmute. I got doggies in the background here. You don't want to hear that. I think we're making great progress. This could be, postponed for finishing up at another time if we need to. I'm thinking of what I could possibly do, but I don't want to commit to anything yet.
Well, you're digging into the whatever they call the library system now. Again, everybody knows there's a library in their community and they think books, maybe records, maybe a little beyond that. Many libraries today are really community centers. They offer so much. And Kelly, if you have a bead on some of that, that could be really interesting.
Oh, I agree. I was thinking about information literacy and effectively searching the web. I know a lot of people get really frustrated when they try to do a web search and they're not able to find what they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could be our woman.
I could be.
If you think you might be available, where would you most likely be available? July? Does that sound like a likely month?
It sounds like a likely month, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly.
So now let's pay attention to what we said we were going to do, which is be here an hour. It's 5:31. Does that mean we've done enough for this session? We should say goodbye and thank you very much.
Yeah, I think it's a good beginning.
Yeah. What are you gonna do for February though?
Yeah, I looked at that too. I was wondering the same thing. So February is now. That's I mean, basically, we may still have a few days in January left, but February is now.
I would recommend something easy that you don't even really have to prepare much for.
Well,
I have a suggestion.
Rita pointed out the founder of Time Bank died just a few days ago, Edgar Kahn, and he was a remarkable man. And his wife, Chris, is also a remarkable human being. And Rita pointed out that Meatloaf was being eulogized all day and nothing about Edgar Kahn.
Of course,
So-
spiritual leaders too died and didn't get even a byline.
So maybe it's time to, I don't know, somehow honor that in some kind of way. I don't know
Well, I
what
have an
that,
idea that I like to throw out. I just recently had my property up in Brooksville bush hogged, and it's got a huge pile of trees and stuff that I pulled off the fences and put into a pile, and I'm ready to have a bonfire in February.
uh-huh.
And so we ought to have a camping and bonfire and then just enjoy ourselves.
That sounds like a beautiful idea.
I'm thinking
So-
I'd like to get it in early February if I can, so. Let's look at a
Do you have
calendar.
to, Aaron, do you have to get a permit to have a bonfire up there?
No.
Okay,
If we do it on if we do it like on a Friday evening or a Saturday evening, 14th and 15th, and that way people can camp overnight and just, there's no water on the property. That's the problem. So you have to bring your own water. And we'll have to dig a latrine, but that's not a problem. But you know, that's what we got. It's just pasture land. That's clear pasture.
so,
It's got a lot of firewood on it, but it's a good place to have a bonfire.
so people would need to bring a folding chair of some kind
Yeah,
and
folding
water.
chair, and if they want to camp on the property, they can bring a tent or, you know, blow up mattress, whatever. You can drive out on the property, so that's not a problem. But I'm thinking that I'd also like to put in my I've got several hundred, 300 Seminole pumpkin seeds, and I want to put those in the ground about that same time. And then just let them grow wild on the property, and at least I'll get a lot of Seminole pumpkins out of the deal.
So you want to have a planting day? Is the ground
Yeah,
ready?
we could plant, yeah, the ground will be ready for planting.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting. Those certainly are not our usual sedentary pursuits.
It's not
That
that
are-
far from Tampa. It's an hour, it's up in Brooksville. It's an hour up the Suncoast Parkway from my home in Oldsmore. So, you know, it's roughly an hour from your house, Rita. Or, you know.
Maybe we can even connect with Corrine. How far
Yeah.
away do you think she is from you?
She's way up in Brooksville.
Yeah, she's only a mile as the crow flies.
She's only a mile from you, Ron?
From up there in Brooksville. Up at my property up there in Brooksville.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
Less-
only
less
a
than a
mile
mile
from your
away.
property up there.
Right. So yeah, we could have a collaboration with her as well.
Okay, that's good. That's a good plan.
But
Well,
she has woofers with her almost always, and especially at that time of year.
She has what
So
with her?
they might like an outing. You know what woofers are?
Workers for free?
Woofers are free workers on a
Yeah.
small farm.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
what I
it's
gathered.
it's a website, World Organic something something.
Uh-huh.
And Corinne has had dozens of wonderful people from all over the world, and they stay for a month or 6 months or a year. And she puts them up and feeds them, and they learn about permaculture farming.
Right.
well, that's pretty exciting. So that's not a third Tuesday Zoom. That's something altogether different. That's an activity, an event, which is going to be probably our first activity event of the year there. So it ought to probably be in bright red letters, but that's amazing. I want to look at that. I'll be darned. This is fun. So let's go back to Christina's idea about the death of Edgar Kahn and how we can memorialize him on the third Tuesday of February. Is that kind of what you had in mind?
Well, I wrote a list of possibilities a couple days ago, maybe yesterday. I don't know. I lose track. On the email that had the notice for today. I forget what I said.
I may be able to find that. I thought I could find everything, but as usual, I'm a little lax there. But keep on talking. I'll work on finding it.
Well, it could not a memorializing him, but celebrating what he created, because he gave us an amazing system that works all over the world.
So there's going to be an international time banking celebration of his life that will involve all the time banks in the world. But we can have our own. We don't have to always, blend in with what the international force is. We can do our own thing.
What if we showed a couple short videos? Maybe one with him talking, one with some other time banks around the world and what they've accomplished. And then we could have a discussion.
Sounds good to me.
Ellen said that she sent it to you in your email, Christina.
Would you say that again, Jasmine?
Ellen said that she sent something to you in your email, Christina, I think referring to the memorializing Time Bank founder.
Well, if we just get that up there as a function for February, which is the first thing that is on our doorstep, I'm sure we can find what we need in the past emails and put that together with what we're hearing from BJ and the time bank coordinators and the other people who are into the circle of planning for the international celebration of his life. But, for us, we always bring it back home to stories. I mean, we could tell our own time banking stories in that Zoom.
There are some very cool stories. Aaron, I'm sure you have many because you've helped a lot of people.
Yeah, I suppose. I looked over my the lists of all the transactions I've had over the years, and so it's hard to remember very many of them without a list. It's
Yeah, I'll bet you have hundreds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. But it's all fun.
Well, think of one that would be interesting for people to hear about, where it didn't work and you had to redo it and then it did work. And I don't know, something that would be interesting for people to hear. I love stories like that.
Rita's door was quite a project.
You what?
Rita's door was quite an interesting project.
Oh, I'll bet it was. Maybe that would be a good story.
Yeah. But it's inherent in some part of the problems that are in a job like that you come across. And, you know, like Rita had a lot of termites in her house and they'd eaten up a lot of wood. And I took out the old door and then kept trying to find something solid to get started nailing and start with. And I kept on having to bust up more and more wall and ended up breaking up most of her front entry room and had to rebuild it. But was afraid I might not find something solid to get nailed to, but we managed to figure it out.
So while he worried about it, I didn't worry about it at all. I figured Ron would be able to solve the problem, and I was just as happy as could be.
And, you know, if you paid a contractor to do that, okay, that might have been interesting. But when you think that it was a time bank exchange, that's what makes it interesting. And that you willingly solved that problem. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what months do we have here that we don't have anything on at all yet? We almost have this whole calendar filled in.
Wow.
I think October, November, and December, we didn't really decide for sure on like the holiday thing.
So is it safe to put party up for December and figure out whether it's face-to-face or what we're going to do? That leaves 2 months, October and November.
That looks like a frat house calendar. Party!
Gotta end the year strong.
Oh, and November's Thanksgiving. So is that our food and gratitude month?
Could be.
Maybe in the other order, gratitude and food. Or maybe it's gratitude for food. I don't know. What do you think? Oh, what about, have we done anything with finance or what do you think about that one? I liked our program on finance. There are other things that that have been in the suggestion box. We could see what's in the suggestion box. I've forgotten. Investments.
Faith, I thought Faith was an excellent presenter. She really understood the audience and was a very good teacher. She simplified everything. Very helpful.
So we can go back to financial literacy. I thought it was a good program.
For March, I just put like empowering women because I think someone mentioned that it's like Women's History Month. So, but that's just, we don't have to do that. And we don't have any ideas other than that right now. And then our other like totally open month is October.
Well, Helen mentioned something about Earth Day. What do we have in April? I forget.
Good idea.
Decluttering and the swaps.
What if we put Earth Day in there and put decluttering and swaps in, which one is empty?
That would be October.
We can't move that April thing because Andy's already fixed on that and he's already working on getting all 3 time banks together for this combined offer or effort.
Okay.
But I really like the idea of doing something for Earth Day, something as a group.
And
Yeah,
when is Earth Day?
April 22nd this year.
Well,
It's
so let's
diff-
just put that in, an activity on Earth Day. And we'll figure out, it doesn't have to be our third Tuesday Zoom, but we can have a major Earth Day activity that we plan ahead for.
We could visit Corinne's farm as a group. She'll give group tours if
Sure.
they're arranged ahead of time. It is a fascinating place if you've never been there.
And you've got your friends there in the Plant City community garden too. They seem to always be having interesting activities. They're tied in to the Hillsborough Community College.
Yeah, no, not Elizabeth. What is her? Karen Elizabeth.
Yes.
She's also very knowledgeable. She would give us a tour. That place is fascinating too.
What's
Lots
the
to
name for
see.
that? They've opened up to us a little bit. We just haven't tied the knot. And there's someone who's quite interesting who is a foodie, who is one of her front and center people who posts things in Facebook. I've forgotten her name, but I think her husband has a motorcycle, and she has a whole food business where she creates wonderful meals, and then she's really active with the community garden. So there are some interesting people in that community. They tried their best to get into the time bank back in the day when Marie was here, and the timing was bad. So, I mean, if they're willing to look at us again, we might be able to get much more interaction. Plant City is not that far away.
Yeah, and there's no ill will there. I've talked to her about that. She's open as long as it doesn't take a lot of time away from what she needs to do. But her doing a program where some of the local people might actually participate, that would be worth her while.
Yes. So Laura, whose last name I forget, it's something like Ogilvy, Laura Oldine, that's her last name, is in St. Petersburg, and she has a presentation on financial permaculture. It's a good presentation. I saw it. She did it for the St. Pete Time Bank. So whatever we had there as a financial day, we might get her to plug in her slideshow on it if we do have a financial day.
I'd love to hear that. That sounds very interesting.
We could do the financial day in October where we don't have anything, or I still don't know for March for empowering women. There's tons of ideas that we can do that, but we have nothing for October.
Let's put it in October, and that gives us a chance to find out what Laura's schedule is like and play around if it won't work. I think her name, Laura Oldine. Yeah, speak with Laura. That's right.
That would be wonderful.
So I can't think of anything more exciting than empowering women. And you guys all have lots of ideas about that. First of all, Elizabeth Dunn's class is the WEL, and the middle initial stands for empowerment. And what's her name? Courtney, on the other side of the bay, is empowering refugee women in business.
Well, since that partnership is getting more solid and may impact some time bank people, is there any way we could work the So Much Hope efforts into this somehow? Because that definitely is women empowering themselves and each other. Definitely.
Yeah, I think Courtney would definitely be open to that too. And we could email her and see if they could, I don't know what you guys were thinking necessarily, but maybe have some of the women kind of like join and kind of show off some of like the stuff that they make, and she could talk about the program and where they sell some of their goods and how like people can support them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I
we can
like
email
that.
Courtney.
Kelly, do you have any final thoughts?
Are you there?
I'm here. No, my brain's fried for the day.
Okay.
Where can we put animals in this thing? Is there a place for animals? We've got the Community Pet Project, and we got Lucky Ones Rescue, which is Kelly's thing. I don't see an animal on the calendar.
Do we have any space for that?
We could add it in maybe as like a piece of something. Maybe like gratitude and food, and animals always make everyone feel better.
Sure.
Maybe not always, but they make me feel better. And people might be in the spirit of giving towards the holidays. So that could be something to consider.
Uh-huh.
It's great. I mean, we can feature things that we are grateful for and share. I mean, certainly, Christine every now and then sends me a picture of a grandchild. So there's a most beautiful picture today that is both a pet and a grandchild. And
her name's Bellamy, and she's about 20 months. She lives up in South Carolina. She's our first great grandchild. We have a second great coming along the way. And she has what we all call a nanny dog. They have 2 dogs in the family, and the white one, who is named Luna, just assigned herself to that baby the day she came home from the hospital. And she is her protector. She takes naps on her body. They lie side by side. She watches Bellamy play. She takes toys to her. And the dog figured all that out herself. Nobody said, oh, let's help the dog help the baby. She just appointed herself a nanny dog.
That's so sweet. I love that. Yeah, so we could incorporate, sharing about animals, pets, like local shelters, I don't know, animals in need, some in November, or squeeze it in anywhere in the year, I think, too. It's always good.
Yeah, we have a lot of animal people. Kelly, for sure.
Kelly helped me get my dog here, and she's provided every dog Bill and I have had. There was one called Baldwin, which we got right after we got the house. And then little Peabody, who was my rat terrier for years, came from Kelly. And Lucky Ones Rescue has a Facebook page, and the people who've gotten dogs from her post pictures of their dogs and how much they appreciate them. It's a very sweet little Facebook page.
That's nice. I didn't know that.
Well, I guess that we could say goodbye. I am so totally blown away by everything that got done today. I am so grateful, talking about gratitude, that you all showed up and did this.
Yeah, this is like time bank compost. You know, we all have something to offer, and we mix it all together, and it provides a very nourishing outcome.
So I like to record hours. I'm going to record hours for you all and give you time bank credits. You don't have to do that yourself. Oh, I guess I need to tell you this. I told Tracy that I thought I'd lost the administrative function of the time bank. Stephen is updating the software, and I went in there and it was like, well, I can't be an administrator anymore. There's no way I can click on the little world. But he had tucked it up in the corner of the page somehow. And he answered immediately an email when I felt distressed. And you're going to find it's a different looking site already. So now what it does on your cell phone is it constantly gives you a feed of requests and offers, which is pretty interesting. It gives us other things to think about as we add more offers and requests, but it's going to make it more interesting for the typical time bank member who can just call that up on the cell phone and see what's going on. And it also has some of the stuff from the site, like announcements. So I'm happy about the changes, and give me feedback about what I need to do to make it better. And your experiences with interacting with the site, because a lot of people don't do it, and it will be a better time bank if people do it. So that's it, and thank you all immensely.
Thank you, everybody.
Fully express gratitude, but it's really something I appreciate a great deal.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Everyone.
Happy to be here with everyone. Bye.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Lori.